everybody, it's Dave from Dave Station VR, and I'm here to talk to you about Cavernous Wastes. This is a strange, mysterious little game. There was no coverage before it came out, and even really after it came out. It mysteriously appeared in the PlayStation Store, but not in the VR section for a while on launch day. But the one thing I want to say is very impressive to me about this game is it was created entirely by one person. Pouncing Kitten Games, the people who made this, is one guy. And the thing that's really amazing to me about some of these PSVR titles is like, you know, this is a cheap little game. It's $10. It tries to do one thing, and it does it pretty well. And that thing is exploring caves in a 6 Degrees of Freedom descent-style ship. While you shoot some guys, and you know, you can tell that it's made by one guy, but it's still so impressive. Like, you know, there are plenty of rough edges, but it's cool to me that somebody can just like have an idea, create it, put it on PSVR. It's clearly a passion project. This guy is, you know, put a lot of time into this. If he's a one-man development team. And for your $10, I really think he earned it, to be totally honest. So to explain a little bit about the game here, I'm exploring caves, and I'm trying to escape, but the game doesn't really tell you much about itself, and there's a lot of stuff that is basically just shrouded in mystery. You don't know what's going on, but it slowly reveals itself to you, and that, to me, is what's so compelling about it. It doesn't hold your hand at all. You start the game and it tells you nothing. As you go on, you start getting diary or journal entries that sort of tell you a little bit of what's going on, and you start to figure out the way the game works, which is it's like procedurally generated caves. Every now and then you'll see the same kind of structures, but it's random every time, so you never know exactly what you're going to get. And it reminds me a little bit of Dread Halls in that you're sort of just exploring a stage and you have a map. And, you know, as you go through, you may run into enemies, or you may find a dead end, or you may find the entrance to the next stage. So this right here is a power-up. But these also totally do not explain themselves to you. Except that one's pretty straightforward. Large cannon. So now I've got a large cannon. So you got two weapons. You got a laser beam and a cannon. And actually 3 weapons, a missile. But I'm not going to show it off because I only have 3. And I've got my map here, which says that's a dead end. And basically what you're trying to do is move through these segments. You can see I'm on segment 2 right now. And escape from this underground cave structure. But the game starts giving you a little bit of info as you go through. And it kind of... it's kind of compelling. It makes me want to keep playing. Like, if you can go through the journal here, there's all these logs. And most of them I haven't unlocked yet, but they sort of tell you about the world. You know, when the surface became uninhabitable, we moved underground, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, something to me about this, I like a game that just, you know, has a clear vision of what it wants to do, but doesn't really guide you, lets you kind of explore it and figure out the boundaries of the game. You know, maybe some people would say that's poor game design to not have a tutorial saying this is how you do this and this is what the game's about and yada yada yada. But I think from my experience with this, it's very enjoyable as just sort of an exploratory thing. Like, I love caves. I love flying around in a spaceship in VR. You know, the whole deal. This is a very simple implementation of that, but it's pretty rewarding. I do like it. There's never a whole lot going on. I know Brian from Without Parole was saying that it was kind of meditative for him, and I can see that, although at a certain point, when you get into the later stages, you're getting your ass kicked, and there's guys shooting at you all over the place, and it's difficult to survive once you're on, like, segment 6 or so. So, yeah. Oh, here's the exit. So these are exits, and you fly through them, you go on to the next segment. One thing to be careful of is just flying forward when you get to a new stage, because there's always stuff in every direction. So you want to keep an eye on all cardinal directions. Okay. So controls-wise, this feels pretty good once you get the hang of it. You can maneuver around with the left stick. You kind of aim in a sort of a first-person shooter type way with your right stick. And then the D-pad lets you go up and down and strafe. And then you can also do a tilt with L1 and R1. So there's plenty of movement options. The combat is pretty simple. There's not a whole lot to it. Whoa, did I get through this stage already? That's one nice thing about randomly generated stages. Sometimes you just get one that it's real easy for you. But that said, I probably won't have the upgrades I need. So this game is kind of like a roguelike in a way, or maybe a roguelite, I would say. Because as you go through, you see this card that I have over here. That's the power-up I picked up before. And I think every stage has one power-up and one exit. And they don't always explain to you, kind of like the whole rest of the game. You know, they don't tell you what they are, unless it's just large cannon. But sometimes it's stuff that doesn't show itself exactly. You're not sure what power-up you got or what it does. But I think, I don't know, there seems to be a whole deck of cards worth of power-ups, because each one is represented by a unique playing card. Ooh, these parts are cool. I like when you go straight down. There's a good sense of, like, kind of cave-like verticality to this game. Like, hold on, let me blow this guy up. Alright. Like, I'm just going to go straight down this hole. And then there's going to be a whole separate cave structure down here. It is a good deal of fun just, like, exploring these environments. They are obviously... Oh my god, stop killing me! Jeez, making it stressful. Alright. And as you go through each time, the cave structures are sort of randomly generated, and the enemy placement is randomly generated. So every time you die, you get a new setup, and new power-ups and everything. And for some reason, I just want to keep coming back to this game. There's something about it. I can't really put my finger on it. Oh my god, I'm gonna die, though. Jeez, I'm doing terrible. I am on the 4th stage, though. This is when it starts getting a little more difficult. Alright, this looks like a shield power-up. We're good there. So I can bring up my map here and kind of get a 3D view. That's really helpful. Looks like I need to go back up, probably. But yeah, like I said, this entire game was created by one guy. And it's cool to me to see on PSVR that you can have an idea and get it out there, give it to people for a reasonable price. You know, $10 is not too bad for this game, for the amount of time I've spent with it so far. And I'm really curious to see what happens, you know, as I go further, because I've only ever gotten to the 5th or 6th stage, and I'm nowhere near escaping. But the concept here, to give you a little bit of the story, is that there was a big cataclysm on Earth, and everybody had to move underground into these caves. And there's all these drones hanging around that their job was to create caves. So to create structures that people could, you know, transport stuff through or live in or whatever. But everybody is dead. And I am the only person, apparently, and I have a spaceship. And I have to wander around trying to find my way the fuck out of here. And I'm not sure how close I've gotten to that, because there's no real way to know. But I've gotten through a decent amount of it to feel like I kind of know what I'm doing here. So like I said, the combat is pretty simple. The further away from enemies, the better off you are, because as they get close to you, they can really tear you up. Oh god. I would like, I don't know if the developer is going to end up watching this, but in a patch, I would love a reticle on my ship so I could tell where I'm going to be shooting before I shoot. Oh god, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Oh, that's the end of it. I was talking too much. That is a common issue. So, now I'm back on segment 1, and I guess I'll give it a little more of a run through here. But yeah, to explain some of the story, let's see. It's been several decades. They can't see the night sky. So there's still a lot of story that I have not discovered. And as you go through, occasionally you'll discover these journal logs that sort of illuminate you on what's going on. But that kind of plays into the whole sense of mystery that this game has, in terms of, before I played it, I had no clue what I was going to get myself into. The game itself doesn't really tell you anything. It's just like, start. And as you go through, it gives you little hints as to what it's about, but it's very exploratory. I like it, and it kind of compels you to keep coming back. So I would say for $10, this one is worth a shot. If you're looking at this and you like, Descent, which is an old school game, 6 Degrees of Freedom, that's like the standard one you mentioned when you're talking about these kind of games. The ship movement feels great, honestly. It feels really well done. This guy clearly has a solid love of Descent and nailed it. And I like some of these cave structures quite a bit. Like, this is fun as hell to fly around. Look at this thing. I've even got a boost if I want to boost, although that typically ends up getting me killed. But let's give it a shot here. Where the fuck am I? Okay. Whoa, God, I just ran into the wall. No, yeah, you gotta line yourself up. Don't use the boost capriciously. You can shoot these things on the walls, but they're so nice. I don't like shooting. Alright, this thing's going sideways here review-wise, but as I've said, this game, there's something strangely compelling about it, and it is very impressive to me that one person made this. So I feel like I am glad to recommend that you throw him a $10 and grab this off the store, because this is very unique in PSVR. There's nothing else like this, and it is, kind of strangely meditative, like Brian said from Without Parole. I don't know, like, until people start killing you. Oh, double hole. Never seen that before. Ooh, a power-up. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. What do we get this time? Maneuvering thruster. So, when you get a power-up, it doesn't even tell you what it does. Which, at first I was like, oh, that's annoying. And now I'm just like, well, the whole game doesn't tell me anything about itself, so I'll just deal with it. Oh, the other thing I meant to mention as a suggestion, I guess, if the developer ends up watching this, which could happen. I think he's been watching some of these reviews. In addition to a reticle, I would love the ability to have like a compass that shows you up and down, because there's occasionally cave structures where I really have no clue if I'm facing up or down, I guess is the thing. And there's some free space in this ship here. So, they're just minor suggestions, but this game is a decent amount of fun for $10 and for what it is. And I like that it doesn't really hold your hand and it doesn't tell you too much. It
Looks
makes
like
you
the best
want
game
to.
on N64.
Yeah, I mean, the graphics aren't great, but like I said before, one guy made this by himself. So if you think about the graphics in terms of that, and the fact that it's $10 for like essentially an endlessly replayable thing, because it's like sort of roguelike, the power-ups you get are different every time, the stage layout's different every time, and the enemies are set up differently every time. So like, I don't know, it's pretty impressive to me. And the fact that it feels good, the movement is the main thing that really sells it for me, because once you get it down, the movement in this game feels great. Alright, I'm on stage 4 and they're going to start kicking my ass now. Next time I die, I guess I'll wrap the review up. Alright, that's a dead end.
Better than Arizona's Sunshine, it seems.
The thing about this, playing this the day after Arizona Sunshine really put things in perspective for me, because this is a game that one guy clearly put a lot of time and effort into, and a lot of passion. He had an idea and he made this game by himself, and he's only charging $10 for it. And it's not the craziest game in the world. It doesn't have the most ambitious scope, but it works, and it's interesting. It's interesting to me.
Too much time.
Where, like Arizona Sunshine, that's a game that's $40. It's got a ton of hype, a decent budget, ton of people working on it, And the way that I feel when I play it is like nobody cared about this game who was making it. And maybe I know that's mean to say, but like I feel like if you played it through as a tester on PSVR, and you were invested in it emotionally, and you thought like, this is a game that I want to release because I care about this game as a developer, you wouldn't have released it in its current form. It's not ready. It wasn't ready, and they released it anyways. And I feel like for $40 they really just kind of, it's bad faith to put that out on people. Whereas this to me is so refreshing because it's just the opposite. It's one guy, very low ceiling of hype. You know, nobody knows about this game. But it's fun for me, you know? And I didn't expect anything from it. I didn't know anything about it, but it's cheap. And you can tell that he cared, you know, enough to develop something.
Yeah, they should have charged $10 for Sunshine.
That works. And, you know, again, this is one of the cool things about PSVR to me at this point, is that if you have an idea like this as a developer, you can get it out there, and you have a chance of people, you know, being able to play it on their console if they have it home, even though it's indie as hell and weird, and, you know, maybe not for everybody, but it's cheap, and it's something cool that you don't usually get on your console at home. So, I don't know, this is a good one in my book. I would definitely recommend this one. It feels like, oh shit. Yeah, this is the thing what I was talking about, where sometimes I don't know what up is. I think now I'm facing the correct direction, but at a certain point there I was like, where am I? Because you have total freedom. Wait, small cannon? I want a big cannon. Ah, god damn it. Well, you have total freedom to move in any direction, so sometimes you end up facing a way you did not expect to. Ooh, memory restored journal entry. Okay, good to know. Some of the information you get is not exactly story info. It's just about the enemies you're fighting. Alright, so I am gonna die. My ship is beeping. One thing I do not like about this game is it's hard to come across health. And when your ship is hurting like this, it just keeps beeping. And I don't want to keep beeping. It's distracting. It makes me stressed. Like, until I die, this thing is just going to be beeping. And I'm dead anyways, well. Alright, so I think from what you've seen, you could probably get an idea if you be interested in this game or not. But for me, for $10, this is a really solid one, just because it provides a lot of, I don't know, reason to come back and play it, because every time you, from the very beginning, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. You're not sure what the game is until you start playing it. And it reveals itself to you slowly, and it's you know, it's like exploring a cave. It's full of mystery. You never know what's around the next corner. Eventually, you know, you get a hang of which enemies are going to pop up and stuff. But I'm only probably halfway, maybe not even halfway through the game. And there's a ton of randomized power-ups to get. Every stage is totally randomized. For a one-man development team, this is just killer. I think this is really well done. And I think you should support this kind of stuff on PSVR, because I want to keep seeing weird, interesting shit like this. I don't want a lazy game like Arizona Sunshine. You know, I'm sorry guys, but okay, everybody loves shooting zombies, right? Let's make a game where you get to shoot zombies, but then let's half-ass the port. And I don't know. I don't want to get too far into Arizona Sunshine. I'm ranting at this point, but this game draws a comparison for me because it's the exact opposite end of the spectrum, and this is what I like to see on PSVR. And a game like Arizona Sunshine that just, the implementation is lazy and botched, and it just doesn't feel good to play. This does something simple, but it feels good, and it does that one thing well, and it makes you want to play it.
This looks like Descent.
It is like Descent. You have 6 degrees of freedom, you fly a ship around, you're in cool caves. I can't recommend it enough. Maybe maybe I'm going overboard here, but after having played Arizona Sunshine, I just love to see stuff like this. I am drunk now as well, so I'm just gushing. But anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you for watching, if you did watch, and have a good evening.